Welcome to AI Behind the Scenes. I'm Andrea, and you're listening to another episode where we dive deep into the world of artificial intelligence. So, what's up, friends? In today's episode, we're talking about the behind the scenes of artificial intelligence. We always talk about AI, agency, MCP, and all these buzzwords that everyone has been throwing around lately. But let's touch on what really happens behind the scenes. Let's talk about the key people. Let's talk for a moment about what we actually know. What we know AI is, and what it really is. And to talk about this, I'm happy to have a very special guest on our episode named Shay Sasson. Shay, how are you?
Hey, how's it going, Andrea?
Everything's great, making the best of what we can.
Like all of us.
Indeed. Tell us a bit about yourself, what you do in life, and how we even got to such a topic for this episode.
I'll give a brief intro about myself so the listeners can get to know me a bit. I've been involved in artificial intelligence for about 20 years. I was among the first in the army to build systems in the AI field. And I spent many years in the United States and the East, where I was educated on advanced technologies like AI. When I returned to Israel, got married, and started a family here, I decided to establish Sasson AI, a company that provides AI capabilities even before the success of GPT and before the public really knew what AI was. We provide AI capabilities from large to small, meaning for organizations that want to integrate AI and create new monetization models and to be ahead of the curve regarding how technologies like AI impact our digital transformation in life. At first, it was very interesting. We worked with very famous people worldwide who were the only ones interested in doing adaptations because it wasn't something, common like today, where everyone knows what GPT is and what AI can do. Suddenly, in recent years, GPT emerged and became mainstream. The whole world, it turned upside down. There are really funny and interesting stories that I think aren't exposed to the public and aren't well known. It would be nice to look at this podcast with you from a different angle, not just about what an agent is and what it does, but to understand a bit about where it started, what's happening in the background, who the leaders are, those who get written about every day, like Elon Musk, what they do, like Jensen Huang, and what it really means. Where is this going? Where is it headed? I want to take you back a bit.
You say you've been involved in this for 20 years. Personally, I've never done a podcast or spoken with someone who's been involved in this for so long. We know it's not something new. It only came to the world recently with GPT-3, which just arrived and was really exposed to the world, or Siri back in the day. We had some exposure to it, but how did you get into it? What were you doing 20 years ago, and what do you do today? What are the differences between AI then and now?
That's an excellent question. Back then, everything we want today, back then, if we had done this in the army, it would have been systems where every overnight run, when it worked, cost a lot of money. Today, you just run 2 prompts through GPT. It's funny. I don't know if you remember the ISDN era before fast internet, when you connected through 2 BZEC lines via a modem that gave you what was considered fast internet at 256 kilobits. Were you around then? I was, and I remember it well. It was very similar. Yeah, you connected to the internet with those 2 basic lines, and if you wanted to download 6 songs, you'd run an overnight session. It was the same if you wanted to scan a very large amount of data. In the army, we ran overnight jobs on systems that process data during the night, and the next day you'd get the results. If you wanted to refine it, you'd run it again overnight. The thinking and capabilities were very limited and tightly controlled. It was very constrained. Suddenly there was a breakthrough, a singularity of many things. It's not just happening now. It happened because of cloud computing, internet speed, and technologies like these. As a result, a kind of a singularity emerged, a natural evolution. Have you seen Spielberg's series on Netflix about the evolution of dinosaurs? It's fascinating and very similar. Spielberg produced it at the highest level, and you watch it captivated from a completely different perspective. He took the whole dinosaur topic and showed how it evolved over billions of years from one type of dinosaur to another, and how evolutionary changes occurred. It's very captivating. And the same applies to the technological era, yeah, until suddenly a big singularity or explosion happens. This big event causes a convergence of many technologies, creating something that everyone looks at and says, wait, I can use this now for anything, anytime. And here we are, like 20 years ago, before this, in the army or in the US, if a major sports team wanted to create a certain suggestion engine to learn and predict what you choose next, it was very expensive. For example, converting text to speech was costly. Today, we count letters. Back then, it wasn't cheap, so choices had to be very precise. For instance, if the president wanted to analyze all global communications and convert them to text for budget purposes, it was a significant investment. We saw cases where this was truly an economy for the wealthy only wealthy clients, organizations with deep pockets like the military, states, or large corporations with pioneering ambitions could afford it. Today it's different. That's the beauty of it. For the first time in history, you really see that one person, maybe with a little help from two part-time people, can achieve what once took 50 people. And there's a reason for this. It's real, not just talk. It's a kind of machine singularity we've reached in 2026 and probably in 2027, as I see it, and as see in our developing technologies, it will be even more extreme. Let's talk about what the public really doesn't know about artificial intelligence. I get calls from all over the world after the Mythos leak. This is real. It's not a cheap publicity stunt. For those listening, a Mythos is essentially a language model like Anthropic's Claude or OpenAI's models. Mythos is considered by some to be a very dangerous language model that they didn't want to expose to the public, but it leaked. The Americans are serious people. The Federal Reserve doesn't shut down all banks overnight without a very serious reason. The public doesn't know that AI has advanced to such a level. At the analytical level, it's essentially a continuation of human intelligence. That means it's already here today. What does that mean? It means, for example, most people know, okay, ChatGPT, fine. But today, autonomous agents, which aren't even AGI, you can actually come and talk to them, teach them to do things on their own, send them off for a week's work, and they come back with all sorts of insights as a collective intelligence. I define this as collective intelligence. What does that mean? Think about AI. I am now, let's say, Shay Sasson, an average smart guy. Suddenly, I have a new hand, which is the AI, a universal intelligence. What does that mean? It has the wisdom of the entire collective of the world summarized in a simple conversation with it. And for the first time in history, they have the ability to learn independently. Suddenly, most of what people do today shouldn't be done the way they do it now. Most people who come and work with AI technologies, who think they understand what they do, don't fully grasp what they are doing. They don't understand the depth that is possible. How will it go? I'll give you an example. Okay, why is myth a good example? Because it's a good example of how far this has come. It has reached a point where a country in the banking sector calls banks when there's some problem, because AI has reached an understanding that humanity alone hasn't grasped. Attack companies don't know how to operate at this level, Andrea, like AI alone knows how to do it. And there's a fundamental shift in the entire way of thinking. Now, think about it. The same thing is happening beyond just understanding code, which many are excited about because it can write code, and that's really cool. But think that today there are many autonomous agents out there. I won't name names. There are enough, let's just say, there are enough autonomous agents out there that you can talk to, and you say to them, listen, I have a problem with some video running on my website. it freezes on this engine or that operating system. You see an autonomous agent trying to solve it and failing. It comes back to you and you say, that's not good. Find another way. Now it goes and searches to solve it. It really tries to solve it. That's real intelligence. It really goes and tries to solve it. It's not like a Q&A at GPT or Claude Speed where you ask a question and it starts building code for you. It goes and searches. It searches openly. It searches Git. And suddenly it finds that it has an idea. It's really an idea. Some might think it's not an idea, but it really is. It didn't know this before. It goes and searches Git and finds some plugin that it will try, which, by the way, people have embedded in Android, and it solves the problem. He keeps integrating it, testing it, loading it in the browser, checking if it plays well or not. Then he tells you, listen, I thought it worked. I played it. I look and see it's still on Android, that I opened it in the browser and it doesn't work well. Let me check it again. He goes, talks to you, checks never in real time, goes and checks. Eventually he finds some Chinese open source that dealt with solving such a problem on GitHub, takes it, integrates it, tests it, and says, here it works. Here, take it. Thank you very much. Now, this is something real, something that actually happened from some site I uploaded, a spiritual friend's site I uploaded just out of love. The users had this problem. Now, Keaton, enjoy, Andrea, what? Do I know everything? Nobody knows everything, not even the best station in the world. But what? The general intelligence knows everything, or at least knows everything that exists. So I sent it, and that's really what happened. I'll give you one process after another. What happened? The problem was solved, and since then I haven't heard any silence. No one had any more problems with play. Now, what doesn't the public know? They don't even know they can dare to do this and find real solutions. What used to happen, as someone who used to go to experimental work and blogs, Reddit, and all sorts of things for a week, and I'm not sure I even open it right now. What am I saying? I'm saying this is a model that is not deterministic, and neither the AI builders nor those who come with it, as an example, like Sam or Jensen, know exactly where it will end. And I'll tell you what they usually do know. First of all, they know there are steps forward because it's already with them, and it works. That means they feed us by the spoonful. Keep in mind, they feed, and the public doesn't know, they feed it by the spoonful. So anyone who, for example, I had a conversation last night on Saturday night. In that conversation, we talked with one of the people, I think one of the most knowledgeable in content and IP in Hollywood. He told about a project he's doing with content with one of the big studios, and it's a venture describing how they create content and how it's automated with AI and the whole spiel. Then my friend and I look at him and say, "You're crazy. Listen, a year and a half ago, what you said would have raised $10 million, and that